Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. Here we are today, Yom HaZikaron observed, a very solemn day for the Jewish people, a day in which we remember and recall fondly all those who we lost protecting the state of Israel, victims of terror, and all the protective services. May their holy neshamas have an aliyah. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzva Gana Yisrael, for Shleim L'chol P'tuei Yisrael, and the safe return of our hostages. And we dedicate our learning Le'ili Nishmat Seren Daniel Shemen Rav Durnon Visheli Hashem Yakam Damo. We pray that his guf shall be returned for Kever Yisrael very, very soon. And that's just one family that is grieving today on this very difficult day amongst thousands and thousands of families as we make the transition from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaAtzmaut, one that's almost impossible to describe in words unless you've seen it in person. In Hebrew, they have this wonderful word, they call it a word called a switch. Literally, they just kind of flip a switch, and they go from mourning to celebration. And may all these families know only simchas and celebration. And please, you only have a few more days to vote OIC-MIZRACHI slate number 5, only till a couple of more days. So please, if you have not done so, see the link at the bottom of the podcast notes, and you can cast your vote. Next chapter, Menias Devarim HaTordim B'Tefillah. Lo yochas hamispal b'yadav devar shi'ari shema yipol. Kegon tefillin o sefer ka'ar malei o sakin o mos o chodav o machal shemi tarid shmikach v'kavana sadis batel. While you're davening, you shouldn't hold something that you're afraid it's going to fall, like a bag of tefillin, a sefer, a full plate, a knife, money, food, something like that, because we're worried that you're going to be so concentrating on making sure the item doesn't fall that you're going to be distracted from your davening. And ideally, during the Shemona Esrei, you shouldn't be holding anything, because it's not proper respect to stand in davening when you have something extra in your hands. Aval mutter besukos lechos belulav, but on sukkos you can daven if you're holding the lulav. Neisha besukos yesh mitzvah lochso. Maybe you have the custom of holding the lulav for the entire davening. Umemela ein kamanos unitredes mipanav, and this does not distract you from your davening. Ukamuvan shemutter lechos besidur neisha l'tzorach hatfilah, and obviously one can, or I would even say should, hold a siddur, because that only enhances one's concentration by being able to look inside at the words. Lefnei hatfilah tzorach lechaboses hatelefon haniad. And this is very, very important. This is something that we're all guilty of. The iPhone, the cell phone, the smartphone. He says, Rav Melamed does, that before davening one should shut off the phone. And at a place, if you're in a shul where they have siddurim, you shouldn't use the cell phone. You shouldn't use the smartphone as a siddur, even though it has an app on there, because it will distract you when you have other alerts. And we don't want it to look like you're looking at other things, because it just doesn't. You're looking at, oh, look at this guy, he's looking at his phone in the middle of davening. But if you have to use your phone, there's no other option, there's no siddurim, you should at least shut off notifications before davening. If somebody might, let's say, receive an emergency call, or you need an emergency alert, certainly one should put the phone on silent so that when a phone rings, this is also people that have alerts going off, whether here in America it's the ring alerts, motion at your front door, which is a universal sound, or message alerts. At least put your phone on silent, because this way it doesn't disturb other people around you. One shouldn't stand in davening when you have, let's say, a backpack on. This is not a proper way of respect to stand in front of honorable people. So certainly in davening. If, let's say, you're on the road and you're carrying this pack, and it's just easier to keep it on, if he's small, if he's a young person, or I'm sorry, if the backpack is small, Pochos Minofach Shel Arba Kabin Shem Chamisha liter. If it's a small pack, and he says something like 4.8 liters, Yochal Yispala Kashul Ksefav, then you can daven with it on. But if it's a large one, so imagine these soldiers, you see them carrying around when they're traveling to their bases with these tremendous packs on, then obviously that's not one should wear during davening. If, let's say, you have in your hands tefillin or money, and there's nowhere to place it down because you're worried it might get stolen or lost, and there's no one that can watch it for you, so if you don't have pockets, so it's better that you should hold them because that's actually less of a disturbance, because if you put them down, you'll be even more disturbed from your tefillah because you're thinking about those items elsewhere. Same thing with your pack. If you have your pack on, and if you take your pack off and put it down on the floor, and you're davening, you're worried about it, then it's better that you should at least keep the backpack on. Ideally, one should not come into the shul with a gun, and one shouldn't daven with a gun. Again, this is obviously much more common in Israel. Soldiers coming with their rifle and M16, whatever it might be. Because the first reason is that one shouldn't daven for life and for peace when you have a weapon of death that is upon you. If there's a security issue, or you have no other place to place the gun and it won't get taken, it's okay to daven with the gun, to come into shul with it, and it's better to hide it if possible. So nowadays, especially in a time of war, where everybody is carrying a weapon, this halacha is applicable, but you see everybody comes into shul because for security purposes. Hasovel minazelet yikaneches hapol lefnei hatfilah. So someone here right now, you could probably even hear it in my voice, that it's allergy season here in the northeastern United States, and the allergy season this year is particularly bad. It seems like we say that every year, but this year it's particularly bad, trust me. So if someone whose nose is running, you should wipe your nose, you should clean your nose before davening, so that you shouldn't have to do so during davening. If only it were that simple. You could just wipe your nose and then it'll be done. If you have any, let's say, phlegm or something in your mouth, in your throat, you should get rid of it before davening. It shouldn't disturb you during davening. And if you have to blow your nose, you should try to do it in the way with the most proper manners possible, in a quiet way. And if a person has to cough or cough something up, you should at least try or to burp, something like that, you should try and cover your mouth. Because when you're davening, you have to be very careful about kavod of shemayim. So something that's not considered proper manners in front of human beings, certainly how much more so in front of shemayim. So we have probably ways that we should behave all the time, not just during davening, but certainly alachas kama during davening. So we have to behave in appropriate fashion. So this serious day. Please continue davening for Chayei Tzvah Israel, for Shalom L'chol B'tzvah Israel, safe return of our hostages. Please vote OIC-MIZRACHI number 5. Only days left. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you here tomorrow.